Hey guys, Gavin here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm here at the 2026 SHOT Show at the Capstone booth. Capstone is multiple brands, most of which are on your shirt.
Everything on the shirt.
That's right.
Except for the coffee stain. Yes.
Nice. I'm here with Emil Praslick. You've seen Emil here, I think just about every year we talk at the SHOT Show, don't we? Yeah, so we've talked about wind. I think last year we talked about 338 projectiles. We've talked about a bunch of different things, but what I wanted to do this time was just hear what you guys are working on and any kind of new insights that you guys want to talk about, like what's been going on.
Sure. You know, one of our focuses is trying to increase our menu of loaded ammunition cartridges, you know? So part of that is we're creating new projectiles in order to satisfy a particular need. One thing that we did recently was we made a brand new 69 grain projectile because Berger previously didn't make one. We had a 73 and a 77 that were kind of loaded for magazine length.
Which we've used both in 223.
Yep.
I'll have to say that 77 OTM is quite the performer for us.
They're great bullets.
Yeah.
They really are.
Amazing.
So the 69 grain bullet was probably like one of the first precision bullets made for 223, specifically for like AR platforms. You know, back in the 90s, Sierra produced their bullet. So we produced a 69 grain bullet. We optimized it. We did the thing that we do because we know that, number one, there are some applications. So like for law enforcement, sometimes you're just looking for a particular weight of bullet that works in that platform or something that's authorized for that, or it's already pre-approved. So we wanted to make sure that we had representation in all the common grain of weight sort of applications that the 223 ammunition is needed. So this is kind of just a natural evolution for us. So it shoots fantastic. We're getting ridiculous precision in our test tunnel with it. It helps like reduce barrier to entry. So some people said, listen, I need a 69 grain bullet. You know, my rifle only likes 69 grain bullets, so now we have an offering for that type of person as well. For where this would fit in, I think it's a great fit for law enforcement, for like 223 sort of tactical, people shooting tactical matches with 223s, and also for like some of the traditional disciplines like NRA high power. Again, great bullet for 200 and 300 yards. Again, it shoots little groups.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's one of our more accurate bullets that I've seen that we make. So the guys did a great job down in Mesa designing new bullet and doing it really fast, and now we have a commercial product that we're selling to the public.
Okay.
Premium cartridge case, Vitavori powder, match primer, and a Berger bullet.
So you've got loaded ammo, and then I presume the projectile separately as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the bullet was really made for loaded ammunition for that first use, but yes, it'll also be available to sell to reloaders.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'd be interesting to try in our 223 trainer, which is a ultra precision bolt gun that, I don't know, it's so fun to shoot, and it's quite capable, you know?
Right, and then we've got, moving sort of up, we've got our 7mm PRC. Like, as you know, we now have 7mm PRC cartridge cases manufactured by Lapua. So we now have loaded ammunition in 7 PRC.
Nice.
So we've got a 175 grain 7mm bullet, and then the heaviest in class bullet that you can have for loaded ammunition, we have that 195 grain 7mm bullet in PRC as a factory loaded cartridge offering. And as you know, that bullet's a monster.
Oh yeah.
And so I've seen people use that bullet in all applications, from, you know, cartridge sizes around the 284 Winchester size, all the way up to, you know, guys that are shooting like 300 Normas neck down to 7mm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like a plasma streak going down range. But yeah, it's very accurate bullet. It has great terminal effects, and it's got a great ballistic performance.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the 7 PRC for the factory ammo. And I personally feel like the 7 PRC, it's easy to get it to shoot really well.
Yeah.
It's really well suited for long range applications, and it's extremely well suited for big game hunting. We just finished a medium action build. So a 7 PRC can fit in a medium action, which is kind of an interesting scenario, an optimization. But
I mean, that's the whole rationale sort of behind that whole family of cartridges, right? So that it's the same template they used with the 338 Norma Magnum, and where you're taking a cartridge case, you're shortening it slightly, you're giving it a lot of boiler room in the body, and so it'll fit in, existing cartridge overall length sort of platforms. So it's that is, I think, one of the biggest advancements in modern ammunition is that advent of all those cartridges that started around 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
It really gives the guys a lot of options.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's going to be a really great product.
So the Army has their 6.8 caliber rifle, and so what's kind of common is it happened with the 5.56, where you have a battle rifle, and eventually you need or want an accurized version of that rifle and ammunition type.
Yeah.
So with the 5.56, we saw the development of the 77 grain loaded ammunition, the military nomenclature. I think it's Mark 262. But we were actually part of that when I was at the Army Marksmanship Unit, where we were shooting that round in competition. It was demonstrated how well it shot out of our platforms, and eventually it found its way into an accurized and optimized platform for designated marksmen. So that same evolutionary track, it's inevitable that it's going to happen with the Army's next generation rifle. So to help support that, or any of those efforts, we developed a 150 grain hybrid bullet in 6.8.
Oh, interesting.
In 277. And it's optimized to be able to load it to the overall length. I believe the Army cartridge is 6.8 by 51. So it's right there. So optimal to where the bullet needs to be in the case. And it's got a decent BC. I think it's around a 0.3 G7 BC, and great precision. So we've done some collaboration with the Army and the military to try to socialize the bullet and let them see what the capabilities are of it. But right now, we love it. It's a winner. And so for the civilian reloader, that it opens up other options for 277 caliber, 6.8. I think it requires like an 8 or a 9 twist, so it may not shoot well out of one of the old school legacy or grandpa's 270. But the way that it works in the bullet world is if you build a bullet, people will show up and build a gun around that bullet.
Yeah, right.
Some weirdo like you is going to go find a barrel, going to design a chamber, send it off to somebody to have the reamer made, whatever, and then start building guns. That's America, man.
Yeah,
that's how we do things over here.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that. And then moving up in caliber or capacity. So in 300 Norma and 338 Norma, we've got a couple of new loaded cartridges.
Oh, cool.
Go big or go home. So 300 Norma is a really high performing cartridge. So we have the 245 grain. We had that 245 grain Elite Hunter bullet, just a giant 30 cal bullet. And so what we did was, we closed the point on that bullet and made some small modifications, and that's our 245 grain LRHT.
Oh, nice. Long
range hybrid target. And that, again, it's a giant, huge BC bullet. So coming from the military, coming from some of the special operations guys that we know, they're looking for more capabilities always. So our development of this loaded cartridge kind of parallels military's kind of approach to developing this capability as well on the special operations side. So we now have a commercial off-the-shelf loaded cartridge, 300 Norma loaded with a 245 Berger LRHT. And that thing is a monster. It really is. And then on that same line, the Army sniper rifle is a multiple caliber change rifle. I know you've talked to the Barrett guys probably numerous times. One of the
MRAD and MRAD ELR and that whole lineup. Yeah.
And so a 338 Norma Magnum there's a 338 barrel inside that kit. So right now it's currently just armor piercing in the Army platform. But again, eventually they're going to need a precision product for that. We took a 338 Norma Magnum cartridge case and we put a Berger 300 grain hybrid bullet in it. And again, that is another really high performing bullet. That bullet it's in use by all kinds of people. So people that shoot like 338 Lapua, 338 Norma, but also guys that shoot extreme long range with cartridges like 33 XC and like the 338 Enabler or the Snipe Tac, where they're taking 375 cartridges, necking them down to 338. And so we know that bullet performs at extremely high velocity because those maniacs are shooting a 300 grain Berger at 3,100 or something like that. And the bullet doesn't turn into a puff of dust going down range, which is always the danger that you're,
redlining the
yeah,
RPMs.
It looks like a Civil War battlefield with this kind of stuff popping off. But we've got that as a commercial off the shelf cartridge that we'll sell. And so I was one of the primary drivers behind that because, so in the military selling ammo contracting world, the way it works is if you have something that you already sell and it looks like the thing that they want, that's a huge advantage to you.
Yeah.
If you look at the development of all of our loaded cartridge offerings, you'll see a lot of those parallels. We're trying to build things that we think law enforcement or military, whether it's our military or our partners overseas militaries, things that they think that they want. This way, it shortens the time that I can just give somebody something to test and give us direct feedback.
Interesting.
Yep. And I think on our list of sort of new products, that kind of covers what we've got going right now. We've got other stuff in the mix, but some of that stuff is close hold. We'll let you know about it in a couple of months, but we have a lot of pretty exciting developments on the horizon, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, there's so many new cartridges, applications, projectiles, it's almost hard to keep up with it, And you mentioned the puffs of dust.
Yeah.
And, I've taken a close look lately at 22 Creedmoor, for instance. And, the twist rate is kind of a compromise because you have to be able to spin up and stabilize those heavy bullets, but you don't want to blow up the lighter bullets because they're going to be going a lot faster.
Yeah, so what's like your normal twist that you would shoot a 22 Creedmoor with?
1 in 8 is what Sammy specifies.
Okay.
Yeah, and that does limit how heavy you can go. So
it does.
You go up to 80, and you don't go usually up to 88 for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, we have an 85.5, but I don't think you'd want to shoot it in an 8 twist.
Yeah,
honestly.
So if you have got a solid copper projectile and you're hunting medium game, fine. If you're varminting, great, flat shooting, and you just accept the fact that it's really overbore,
right?
And have to work with that tuning sensitivity, I guess you could say. Yeah. When you had mentioned the 245 grain and the 300 Norma mag, I was just thinking about the design of. I've chambered one of those. I've never shot one. I haven't really looked at the cartridge in depth. Is that a cartridge that's well suited for those longer, higher BC bullets in terms of where the neck is positioned?
It is. I mean, and a 9 twist is sufficient stability for that. You can get too much of a good thing with having really tight twists with like cartridges with a lot of pressure and high velocity.
Yeah.
You can make it hard on that bullet. We get calls to the tech line like, hey man, I blew one of your bullets up. Well, what were you shooting in is always the next question. And I'm like, it just wasn't designed to shoot 400 feet per second.
Right. It's kind of like taking your factory turbo diesel and chipping it.
Right.
And you're kind of right on the edge of pressure and temperature. But
before that is one of our design parameters. So when we build a brand new bullet, we try to envision what the kind of what a guy like you might do. So if we don't have that actual cartridge, we'll try to find an analog cartridge to get the velocity to see if the bullet still has good precision at that high velocity and if it still has its integrity at that velocity. So like we've done things like a brand new really high pressure cartridge case comes out, like
the 277 maybe,
or the backcountry, Federal's backcountry.
Yes, right. Yeah, 7 backcountry.
We'll take like a rifle with like a Weatherby style cartridge in it, and if we don't have to just to try to proof test these projectiles, try to launch them at as high velocities as we can.
Right.
And plus, we like to socialize new bullets out to we've got our core set of subject matter experts. People are sponsored shooters, are team shooters, and so not only do we test new products within the sort of the echo chamber of our organization, because it can be like that sometimes.
Sure.
We try to get that out into our trusted kind of people that we have out there to test it, maybe expose it to circumstances that we didn't foresee, and give us honest feedback.
Yeah,
and that's all I want, man. Like everybody makes great bullets.
Right.
There's so many companies that make excellent bullets, but shoot one of ours. I want your honest assessment of how it does and help us make it better.
And every bullet has its optimal application, right?
It really does.
For Berger bullets, a couple of our highest performing bullets have been the 77 OTM that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Just consistently shoots in the ones out of our 223 trainer. And then, of course, the 7mm Berger 180. Like, talk about a champion.
If you walk the line at an F-class match, I mean, that's, if you want to know, what the ultimate performance is for all the things, F-class is really the gold standard. These guys they're doing every single thing that they possibly can. There's no movement on the platform, and it really does come down to internal ballistics and the performance of that projectile. And those guys are doing everything they can. They're measuring bullets. Some of those guys are trimming tips. Some of those guys are pointing their own bullets and all the stuff.
Yep.
But that Berger 180 is still the dominant bullet in 7mm in F-class, and there's a reason for that.
So here's a question for you personally. If you're going to take a particular cartridge and work up a load for it, what's your thought process in terms of selecting the appropriate bullet skew, selecting the appropriate powder, maybe the burn rate and or the skew, the lot or whatever, and then your own philosophy on working up? Because I talked to Brian Litz about that, and his thing is basically get up near 90-95% case capacity and work right there, right? A lot of people will do these ladder tests. And
I'm pretty primitive, like, 'cause I did all that stuff too. Like, back at, I'm an old guy, so back in my day it was called.
You're not that old.
But it was called the Audette method.
Okay.
Named after Creighton Audette, one of the most skilled and knowledgeable gunsmiths in the history of the United States. So he was the captain of all the early U.S. PAMA teams. He was known expert in ballistics. He used to write articles for NRA, when the American Rifleman, back when it was full of actual, like articles about reloading and things like that. He designed that method where you're shooting shots at different charge weights and you're kind of seeing what the thing does. And I've done all that, and I'm actually back to kind of what Brian does.
Okay.
Which is, again, look at what kind of case fill I want, check my target velocity, and then I'll look at the Vitory reloading guide, and I'll look at a set of candidate powders.
Okay.
And I kind of know what bullet I want, because that's the first thing, really. I'm trying to match the bullet for the application.
Yeah.
And
well, you mentioned earlier getting a reamer made and cutting a chamber, and I do believe that you have a case and you have the bullet, you want it seated to a certain depth, you can kind of work some parameters around that, right?
Yeah, as a custom guy, but like more and more, I want everything to work within a SAMI chamber. Because if I have that rifle and it has a SAMI chamber in it, that means that regardless of where I go, I could potentially even borrow somebody's ammunition.
Yeah, another SAMI chamber should be about the same.
It should work,
right.
But I understand custom stuff for custom applications, especially the long range enthusiast, competitive guy, whatever it is. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, your diagnostic tools are, you really need a ballistic solver of some sort, right? Because for me, a big thing is the wind deflection.
Sure.
So I can look at wind deflection by just using my Kestrel or my AB Quantum app and just kind of experiment and see what the different wind deflections are. Or I can use like a weapon employment zone. I can use a hit probability thing. All those tools to try to narrow down, because it's about hit probability.
And you can get surprises, right?
You can.
Like you might, let's say you're choosing between a 22 arc and a 6 arc, you might find a 22 projectile that can outperform the 6 in certain circumstances, right?
Right. I mean, everything is your hit probability. So even if it's an informal thing, but assess that hit probability, and then that'll kind of drive you towards that projectile that you want. And then, you know, given the cartridge that I have or the rifle that I own, then I'll look at the candidate powders that give me that good case fill, and then I'll just start dithering. But I'm very conservative when it comes to pressure.
Okay.
It's my experience as when I was the coach in the Army, for the Army team, for the AMU, was that, you know, when I'm fielding 20 rifles, I got 20 guys out there all shooting, you know, what wins rifle matches over, I don't care who it is, whether it's PRS or traditional, you know, NRA, high power, whatever it is, over the long course of a season or a multi-day match, what makes you lose is the crisis event that you experience.
Overpressure, or
you just blow a stage because you just miss a target, or you forget about a target to shoot, or you forget about the wind, or you put the wind on the wrong direction, or you have some sort of mechanical failure in your system. And because wind drift does not win matches. Small groups win matches, reliability wins matches, and vertical on a target wins matches in almost every discipline.
Interesting.
So if you want to ride up to the top and even beyond the edge of pressure to try to get an additional couple of inches of deflection at long range, it is not worth the payoff.
It's just better to use a different solution for a more reasonable pressure and just compensate accordingly.
Because you could go to a completely different environment. Your home range is Knoxville, Tennessee, and you go out to shoot out a match in Wyoming, and you may be overpressure.
Yeah, I had that with an AR in a match. It was, I think, 22 Nosler.
And people at home don't have pressure fixtures. Right. So you can only look at results on the case. Usually you don't know until it's too late.
Right.
But that's my philosophy.
Okay, well that's interesting. It's interesting to compile a greatest hits of different philosophies.
I used to do everything, man.
Yeah.
And now I get the same results with a more simplified approach.
Yeah, interesting. So are there any other new SKUs, new products?
Yeah, so as you know, Lapua, we're part of the Lapua organization. So we have a couple new products.
It is on your shirt.
It's on the shirt.
Yep.
So we have some new products from Lapua. We have the TRX bullet, which is you have some experience with that,
the
right?
6.5s, yeah.
So,
amazing precision. I mean, for a solid copper, I was amazed.
And, you know, part of the testing and design with that bullet was to get reliable expansion even at relatively low velocities. You know, so down below 2,000 feet per second even, to get to where you have some reliable expansion. So, and again, like good precision. You can't kill it unless you hit it.
Right.
So Lapua has some new ammunition SKUs in 308, a 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 by 55. I mean, you cannot swing a dead cat and not hit a dude shooting 6.5 by 55 over in Finland. That's the 30-30 of Finland is 6.5 by 55. And 300 Win Mag and 30-06.
Cool.
Those are all Lapua cases, Lapua components, and as we know, their quality is unparalleled. So so look for that stuff as well.
Okay, well, thank you for the conversation. And for you all, if you have questions for the Capstone team, for Emil specifically, drop a comment and we will meet you down there in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out our other SHOT Show content. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.